day of September.
Usually, there's LB. Who are we missing? Dan.
Danny?
Yeah, I believe that. Yeah.
Yeah, Monday for me too.
You guys. Huh? No. Oh, I
Yeah,
will.
yeah, she does, she does, yeah.
And a couple I'm here, send them down.
Looks like we're ready to come to order. This is the Washington Area Highway Transportation Committee. It is Monday, September 30th, 2019. Gina, can we have the roll
Rick
call?
Miller,
Present.
Ed Fisher,
Fred?
Stephen O'Connor,
Present.
Ray Frankenberg,
Here.
Bob Ingeman, Bill Stratman.
Here.
Mayor Lucy. Here. Joe Hotmeyer,
Here.
Annie Cassette, Albie Eckelkamp,
Here.
Bill Miller,
Here.
Tim Brinker.
Here.
Steve Selentrop.
Here.
John Nilges.
You got him?
Yep.
Please stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, good morning. Good morning. I want to welcome Stephen to his first official position, replacing Judy,
Thank you.
and look forward to lots of success with you around here. First item on the agenda is approval of the minutes from the previous meeting. Anyone had a chance to review and see any changes or corrections or additions or deductions, whatever? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to approve. I have a first and a second.
Second.
Wasn't here.
Oh, and a second. All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. All right, getting right into it. Amtrak. Craig?
I've got a couple of things. No real report, I guess. First of all, learned from Emily Underdown, who's tourism at the Chamber. They're working on a couple of things down there at the Visitor Center. One is some new signage that they get some Amtrak money from, which is a QR code sign. People can log in and see things to do when they arrive at our station here in Washington. We also have Brian Ross coming down the middle of October. I think she said the 16th. Amtrak is going to shoot a series of videos at all of the Missouri stations to kind of highlight the station itself, highlight the community that it lives in, and talk about the benefits of train travel with the idea of using these videos to increase ridership throughout Missouri. The next day, actually, will be my first MORPAC meeting, October 17th in Jeff City, and hopefully we'll get some more information there that I can report on next month.
Very good. Any comments, questions for Craig? Anyone? Hearing none, move on. Highway 47, Missouri River Bridge.
And the bridge project is going along as planned. They're working on tying in the shared youth paths on both ends of the bridge. And the lighting is getting, the contractor's coming in this week to finalize the lighting, they hope. So they're gonna be working on the lighting over several nights this week. They hope to have it completely figured out by Saturday night.
Very good. Very good.
Everything's going as planned.
So the trail that goes under the north end of the bridge, where is that at? Where are you at with that finalizing?
I talked to the RE and he said they're tying it in right now.
Oh, they are tying it in? Okay.
So
It's hard to,
I
it's
don't
hard
know
to
if it's
visualize it
complete.
yet.
I've not been down there.
Okay, okay.
So, but he said they've worked on it, and he said the completion date of December 3rd is still the plan, have everything done.
Good. Fantastic.
Of course, if the river stays up, that'll be a little bit of a problem, because I think it's gonna come back up. Is there any chance that if it prolongs getting that down, to be able to cross over, that the MoDOT might just open the walking trail, the walking lane?
On this side.
On this side, like just out to the
Overlook.
Center?
overlook?
Yeah, I'd have to ask, because I don't know, and I could talk.
Right now, we can't even go out to the overlook because, and I understand that, because if you went across, they have to build that part that goes, scissors down and goes under and comes back up, and that way the bicycles are going with the traffic. But is there any way that we could at least get it open to just pass, you know, to the overlook, so that people could start
I
using
mean, if they're
that.
doing active construction on the bridge, they probably wouldn't want
Yeah.
walkers out there right now, but I'm not sure what the status is.
Well, I mean, once the lighting is done, the truck that's been out there for quite a while, I think, is been kind of associated with the lighting.
Well, the construction trailers are right there, until it's finally finished, and that, they may be the last things to pull out. Would that be correct, Stephen?
I would think so.
The construction trailers, and
Just
that's.
curious,
yeah,
because
I-
people
I agree
really
with
would
you.
like to get out
I
there.
agree,
And it could be a long time.
The river shouldn't have as much effect on it as it did when we were actually trying to pull the debris out of the river, though, right?
That's right.
Is that all finished, the debris in the river, as far as you know?
I'm not sure.
Okay.
I don't know.
I think I asked that question last meeting we had, and Judy had responded that it's all because of the insurance. Because of
Insurance on
the
the
people,
contractor insurance.
Yeah.
Because Alvarez's.
Albarese's insurance of people walking out there. So that until they had all the lighting done, like you asked, they wouldn't allow them to walk out there. And I don't know if they're done on the south side over by the trailer there yet.
Yeah, I don't know. I heard a lot of comments about it.
Yeah, it'd be nice to walk out there.
It'd be nice to go out there. Almost a year.
Stephen, the bridge actually isn't physically, officially open because there's still construction on it, correct?
That's
And is that the way it's recorded, like for the truckers and whatever? I don't know that we're seeing that much more truck traffic, but if that bridge is not officially open for, does it still have the requirements from the old bridge? Or-
Well, I think the contractor's just concerned about people being out there.
Oh, I understand, and I can-
Are there any restrictions on traffic on the highway right now?
No,
there is not,
I mean, the
okay.
bridge is open, but
Yeah, yeah,
just not for pedestrian use.
okay, okay.
Right.
So the rest of it is all been rectified and is now open?
Right.
Okay. I know, obviously, there isn't any, those are all gone now, the heights and whatever.
Right.
But for the official, the bridge is still under construction, is that correct?
That's
That's basically what people would see, it's still under construction.
Right.
Okay.
On this side of the bridge, are they gonna tie the asphalt they're doing on 47 in with the asphalt they need to do approaching the bridge?
I'm sure they are, but I don't know 100%, but I've not looked at the plans and I
Okay.
haven't been over here enough to get a real good feel on
Right.
where the project is.
All right,
It
thanks.
looks like you're doing some, or getting ready to do some overlays on Highway 47 from about Third Street all the way through the intersection of 147. Is that planned to be done at night, a lot of that, because that could really mess up traffic? I know they've ground the pavement.
I
you know,
drove through there and noticed that.
Yeah, there's a lot of equipment parked just to the south, on the right-hand side, as you get past Studerman Road.
The resident engineer didn't tell me if it's planned at night or if it's planned during the day. So
Okay,
I don't know.
okay.
Sorry.
Yeah, well, I would think the people in town, the local guys, the highway, whatever, need to know, engineers or whatever, if that's gonna be closed, and for the newspaper also.
Okay.
Just to let people know that that's gonna be happening, and if it is at night, you know, people will give you a little better
Sure.
understanding of what's going on. Anything else on the bridge?
No.
Nothing? Highway 47 Corridor Committee. It was probably John.
There's no report. I don't think there's anything unless Tim.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
can give a little update. I met last week with Russell Ross, the city administrator for Union, and the engineering firm Cochran that was selected by Union to help with the furthering of the interchange. And we're both scheduled to get a memorandum of understanding drafted from both the county and the city with which to go into some funding opportunities at East-West Gateway
There you go.
and CMAQ funds that might be available for the project. And that's where it is right now, but it's looking very positive on the not-so-distant horizon, let's put it that way. Instead of decades, we're talking a handful of years for the interchange potential here. So that's a good thing, and the feedback is positive, and so far, so good. We really like where we're going in terms of the selection. The 3 top selections by the Lockmiller study that we all paid for are being in a consideration process right now. So when we get this MOU done between the governmental agencies, that is the time the real grinding is going to get down in terms of really paring it down as to what corridor is gonna be selected at that 5047 interchange, so. That's where it's at currently, and that's scheduled for October 7th and 8th respectively. I think the 7th is the Monday for Union, and the 8th is the Tuesday for us at the county to get those letters passed and adopted.
And that's for the MOU, you're talking about the memorandum? of- Okay.
Yep.
I attended the Trailways, or Transportation Committee meeting, and Jim Wild, of course, has always been good to this area, have watched out for us and whatever, and is a true friend of the Washington Union area. He even mentioned in the meeting of the Trailways, brought up the fact that he recognized me and said, "Look at Bill over there now, don't take this wrong." He says, "You know, we're gonna get you some money too," or something to that effect. I mean, because we're kind of the stepchild of this whole transportation thing. But Jim recognizes us as a community of need, and I'm sure we'll get our share.
We definitely have the ear and the eye of East West Gateway, that's a fact, so it's good.
Exactly. Anything else about the corridor? Hearing none. Franklin County Transportation Committee? Jim, you just reported on that? Transportation Committee?
Yeah, we had a meeting last week, and we didn't have enough to have a quorum, and everybody could show up because of different conflicts.
Tough this time of the year.
And just had some discussion items, that was about it. You know, out in that meeting, I made mention of the county looking at all aspects of transportation, one of them being the special road districts. And that commentary and query was not put out there to do anything other than potentially make government more efficient, especially as it relates to our transportation dollars. So that's what we're looking at. We're looking at how are things funded, how do we go to work, and how do we get things accomplished in a much more expedient fashion for that of the taxpayer. So where we're at on that and what brought this up, there are several roads throughout the county that for improvements to get done, you have to have 3 different agencies agree to do so in some cases. I'll take Bluff Road for an example. You had to have the city, the county, and the special road district all give the blessing, if you will, to get this thing done, whereas perhaps it might be more efficient to have fewer agencies involved on these types of things. The road districts are a great tool. We're a great tool for when they were developed in the late 1800s, initially in the 1900s, early on. The revisions of a lot of the statutes that pertain to the road districts were done 1910, 1919, 1938. And they were a purpose. They were a farm-to-market type application that the municipalities and cities couldn't truly fund in whole. And so they were designated as such historically. So what we're looking at is saying, look, these monies that are attained by the taxes that we pay within the district, putting to use in the various agencies throughout the county, is it the most efficient way to do it? And there have been people that approached us as the commission to look into it, and that's all we're doing at this point in time. So no action's being taken, but a strict, solid review is going.
Yes, I think that's good that people start to recognize the fact that these rural road districts have their place. Ed, any comments from your side of it?
Well, I've been on the road district for probably 25 years, I don't know, a long time. Anyway, and I haven't received a penny. It's volunteer, strictly volunteer. So my decisions is not based on personal monetary exchange. But there's no way that, and I'm not running the county down, but there's no way that they can provide the service to the people around Washington that we do. It's impossible. And the people, most of the people in the road district area will tell you that, you know. I think what happens if you don't have the road district, all the tax money, and I think in the paper it said something about dual tax, and nobody in the road district is paying twice. It's the same tax, whether you live in the district or not in the district. It's not, a lot of people got the idea that it's a bigger tax, but it's not. And so we do, I think, a good job with what we got. We don't get a lot of money, but we get some, and I can defend whatever we've done if it need be, you know. So we're not wasting money, and we're not, and none of us on the board get a penny. So if the road district goes away, all the tax money from around here goes to the county. And you can ask John Griesheimer if you want to. It all goes to the county, and they can spend it anywhere in the county that they want to. Whereas with the road district, the bulk of it is spent right here. So I think it's a big advantage. I think it's a mistake to even think about do away with the road district. But that, I'm not making the big bucks, so, you know.
How many roads are maintained by the special road district?
What?
How many roads are maintained by the special?
Around 20 miles,
About 20 miles. worth.
something like that.
About 6 or 7 roads? Of that makes up that 20 miles?
I guess.
Okay.
I think it's 18.2 miles, and this year the funding was $745,000 for the Special Road District of Washington.
How much of that came from city, residents within the city paid, how much of that?
It's like 20 or 25% of the real and personal on this district area that's outlined. It includes all of City of Washington and the road district that is contiguous to the road serviced. So it's on, we got a map we can make available. And I agree with Ed, and I first and foremost would thank all the board members for their service, their selfless service, and underpaid service, if you will. And I appreciate the fact you talked to former presiding commissioner John Griesheimer on this matter as well. That's good. It's always good to get different opinions from different folks. Nobody's saying there's a waste of money going on at all, but I think there's a path when you have 3 agencies on any given roadway within this county or any county in the state of Missouri for that matter, that you have to run things through to get things accomplished. It's an inefficiency in government, and that's not why we're here. And that's my belief, and that's what I always firmly believe. The dual tax mentioned is that of we all being in the district, road district, we live in the city, or wherever contiguous to, 20 to 25% of our real and personal property goes to that district, and we pay a transportation sales tax on everything we purchase as well. Those are 2 taxes that go into this thing. If the road district was eliminated, I would foresee an opportunity for an agreement to be made with the municipalities that are impacted as to what happens with those monies. And that's something as easy as coming up with some sort of agreement. But it is only if we determine the necessity of said districts. That's where we're at, so.
Well, the only thing I think go ahead and point out, because we did get some numbers back on this, Tim had talked to me about it, was I think your revenue last year was 750,000, I think.
I don't
annual.
know off the top.
Seven-
I'm not going to say.
745. And the residents within the city limits of that paid 666,000 of that 750,000. So that's food for thought that I don't know that everybody necessarily knew before. I had asked for that number, and I thought that was interesting, that much revenue was generated from residents within the city towards the district. So the 6 or 7 roads with 18.2 miles are being funded by the residents within the city. That's where the lion's share of that budget comes from. So I think that's what Tim's referring to too, I guess with regards to, is that the best way to go ahead and utilize the funds? And I don't think that most people within the city limits realize when they get their tax bill, that's where that money is going towards. So.
Is the city going to take an official position on the issue?
Well, I I think right now it's just a matter of just stating some facts and finding out, because I don't know that necessarily, it was news to me. I would assume that it was probably that would be news to most of you sitting up on this board, knowing that that was the revenue and that was how much of that revenue was generated by the citizens of the city. Now, they can, up to, I think, 20 or 25% of their budget, give back to the city for street projects that we want to do, et cetera. But we have not. I don't know that we've received any funds from special roads. I'd have to look into that. So I don't want to say that we've got an issue. I just think we're just saying, here's some facts that's pretty interesting that we all need to take a look at. So.
Darren, Tim, do you understand, or how does that break down? There's a sales tax and there's a real estate tax. Do you have any idea how that 750,000 or so?
That's all real estate.
That's all real estate.
That's all
That
real
is
estate.
all, that is all real estate and personal property.
Okay.
That's where that total comes from. But like I said, that's
But then
all,
the majority of the residents are in the city.
the city, if you live within the city limits, you are within the district, you pay that, and that's where that 666,000 of the 750 of this last budget year, that's where that money came from.
Well, are you saying that if the road district goes away, that tax goes away?
I think there's a lot of different things that you could discuss. I'm not saying that it has to, Ed. I'm just saying that's where the money's coming from now.
Yeah,
And
but
that
it's
those
go-
people are paying for those 6 or 7 roads or 18.2 miles outside the city limits. The fact.
And the facts are that we've been giving back to the city. Quite often we did. I can list the whole thing. But the last couple of years, we've been trying to redo Pottery Road, and we've spent our money there instead of giving it back to the city. And we do have the right to do that.
Absolutely.
So,
I'm not-
I think we've made Pottery Road a lot better. You know, it carries a lot of traffic, and it's crooked, and et cetera, and et cetera. But the tax will not go away. It's the same tax, and it'll just go to the county instead of the special.
My question is just, there's a lot of money that's generated by the residents within the city paying for 18.2 miles outside the city limits.
And this wasn't brought up to be a tribunal of any agency whatsoever. This is just, like, as I stated, the county, regardless of backing by any other agency, is looking into this because we were queried to do so. And I will do so. And that's what brought this subject matter up. I wouldn't be doing my job. We wouldn't be doing our job.
I think it's something that needs to be talked about. I
Without-
think I think you guys gotta get together, the special road districts and the county and whoever's involved with the monies and who gets it, whatever. The city's involved, whatever. And just get a understanding.
Sure. That being said, that was all that took place at the meeting.
I think it's something you guys gotta do right away.
Thank you.
You bet. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Ed. Anything else regarding that item? Hearing none. Eric from Warren County. I don't have any updates. Any updates on the roads or like Highway 47? Any improvements on that road now that the road's going to be? None yet? Okay.
While we're at Warren County, I would like to appreciate both of you guys for being here, Joe and Eric. I think it's important for our Transportation Commission and for you guys as well that we stay in communication and know what's happening on both sides. We have a lot of people that live in the county, that work here in the city, and vice versa. So I appreciate you both being here.
You bet. And if you guys have anything,
Yes.
bring it forward. From your side of the river. Joe, anything? Okay, airport.
I've got some notes from John since he's out today or whatever, I'm covering for him, but the striping project's been completed. The city and Alberici have agreed to allow an area adjacent to the airport to be used as a fill area, and this is from all the causeway rock on the north side of the river. What this will help us go ahead and do is we're going to be placing that rock and compacting and testing it. We're going to put it adjacent to the old taxiway so that we've got a spot for future hangar rentals. our hangar expansion, and this is being done at no cost to the city. So it's a nice benefit that the city is receiving to go ahead and get that fill out there to help us go ahead and expand, and we plan on doing so. But everything related to the bridge, as Steve said earlier, is pretty much, it's all, you know, we're at the mercy of the river right now. So that even includes our negotiations with Alberici on the trail and when we reopen that up, because all that rock has got to be removed, even on the south side, before we're going to be able to go ahead and even think about opening the trail back up. But it is a good benefit for the city. We're happy, and I think it's going to be beneficial for our airport that we're going to be able to go ahead and get that rock and place it out there, and have another place for hangars in the near future. So that's all I had, unless you have any questions.
I don't.
I'll just add a little bit to that. I know that people don't notice traffic in the air, but over the weekend, they did have a lot of activity over at the airport. They, I guess they were giving free rides to people, and that drew a lot of people over there. And I think it was a success. I hope they do it every year. It was pretty cool. I drove over there, and it was a crowd of people over there.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Anything else on the airport? Hearing none. Team Track. Team Track, Darren, nothing new. East-West Parkway, that's John or? No report, Sandy. Public Transportation? Cody isn't here. Yes. Other business, I'll bring up one thing that's gonna happen. You'll see some things in the news about MoDOT and the new requirements for identification. That goes into effect starting tomorrow. And for identification, basically what this new identification, they call Real ID for a driver's license or whatever, is only going to be, you have to have it for flying, basically, domestic flights. And it's a phase-in, but by October 1, a year from now, October 1, 2020, if you don't have the new Real ID, you will not be able to fly unless you fly on a commercial airplane, unless you've got your passport. Your Missouri ID driver's license doesn't work unless it's been updated. So I'm sure there's going to be lots more talked about this. Basically, it comes down to being able to fly. It doesn't affect your voting rights, doesn't affect anything else other than being able to have an identification for flying. Entering of military facilities, I don't know, we've got any federal military facilities around here other than, I don't know of any. Of course, I guess maybe the Federal Reserve Bank, that's not considered a federal,
Talking about on Chamber Drive?
yeah. Never
Used
thought
to
about
be.
that one, that just came to mind. Whether you could enter that facility without that ID, I don't know. It's pretty, how many people have been? I don't know who enters that facility. I don't either.
Yeah, I'm not sure who anybody does know.
That's fine.
It's not on Chamber Drive.
No, just be aware of it as you, if you get your license renewed, your driver's license renewed before October 1 of 2020, it'll automatically take care of itself. You'll get it. But don't, if you do it on September 30th and think you're gonna be flying a week later, they say it's gonna take 5 to 6 weeks maybe to get it. So that's the only timetable where you could get caught in this. But it's going to be, in Missouri is one of the few states that didn't do it years ago or should have done it years ago. Anyway, it's going to happen, and the 1 year starts tomorrow. So 1 year from that date is when this thing goes into effect, so.
So what do we have to do if our license isn't up for renewal?
Yeah, I was just thinking
Well,
about that.
I think you can go to the license office and get it, is I'm going to try it because mine expires in 2021. So by all rights, I would not get a new driver's license from the application from the state, saying my license needs to be updated. But I
What
need to
about
go down
passport?
there and get it done before the 1st of October of 2020.
You could probably always use your,
And it could use your passport.
Passport.
Passport is always going to be available, so.
There's a list on the Missouri website I know of
Yeah.
for the Real ID, but yes, you would go to the license office, you'd bring your existing license and some other forms, whether that be a passport,
Well,
voter
yeah,
registration, a
exactly.
utility bill, to make sure that
Yeah.
you're who you are, and then they
2 or 3
print it out.
different.
They put a little red star in the top of your license, the new one, to prove that it's a Real ID going forward.
Since that's kind of a transportation thing, if
Yes.
you do get it done, or if any of us does get it done, let us know how
I will, I'm
difficult or
gonna
easy
try,
it
I'm
will
gonna
be.
get it, I'm gonna try, I would have tried to do it, but I just got this, it just, became news, basically, because it goes into effect the 1st of October.
Great.
And that starts the year. The other third place, instead of just the boarding of domestic flights, accessing certain federal facilities, including military bases and federal courthouses, and the third one is entering a nuclear power plant. So, if you're going to
I don't have any desire to go there.
Fulton to get,
You never know.
never know,
You never know.
you couldn't get in without your passport.
That's right. Just take the test.
Stephen just pointed out that he had his done. It looks like the
Got it?
same driver's license, but it's got a star in the upper
Blue,
right-hand
is it
corner.
blue
He
star or
he received
red
it.
star?
It's a
That's-
little reddish, orangish looking.
That's it, that's what you're gonna see.
Corner.
Can I get a copy of that ID, please?
If you're right, if you've had your license renewed, recently, I guess you could have that already done, and you did.
Yeah, I don't know.
My son did it before they were giving out the real IDs, and I think they told him just bring in your current driver's license.
Current driver's license
I
and
think
they-
they said $10.
Yes, there's a fee. And it's your license office, your local license office that takes care of this for you. So anyway,
Good to know.
yep.
Well, I didn't know that.
Any other business anybody can think of? Sandy?
I don't have anything.
Darren, anything new, anything else you want to bring in?
We're doing a little bit of work on Old Highway 100 there by Fifth Street. We're gonna take out the asphalt that's there, gonna put in a concrete apron all the way up. I think John reported on this in previous meetings or whatever, but just to keep the asphalt from the truck traffic scooting the asphalt or whatever, we're gonna replace it with concrete. So that work's going on as we speak. So, but all lanes of traffic are open.
Good.
They've been
Cemetery?
redoing sidewalks
Yeah.
at several intersections, I noticed too. 8th and 47 was one of them that they were rebuilding that, and then another one, but I can't remember where that was. Any idea? I think
over
that's a
town?
MoDOT thing.
That's all MoDOT on 47, yes.
When you say Old Highway 100, are you talking down at the bottom of the hill by Bush Creek? Or are you talking?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. The approach to East Fifth Street there.
Sorry.
All right. Good. Stephen, anything else? I think you handed out a list of projects that are for the county.
I did, and it's current up to about last week.
Anybody have any comments or questions? Might have at the next meeting. You'll keep updating this, I assume, every time we
I
have a
will.
meeting. That'd be great.
And Gina, did Judy send this to you before the meetings, or did she just bring them to the meetings before? Okay.
I don't know where that came from.
Okay.
Stephen brought that in.
It came on
I know.
Chamber Drive.
Oh, you handed them out.
But I was just wondering if it was normal for Judy to have sent them to you, or if that would be convenient, we could have them in our packets then that go out.
Oh, that's
Oh, yeah, you can send them to me, that's fine.
That's fine. I'll do
great.
that.
That's great.
Okay.
Right.
Anything else? If not, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion.
Make a motion.
You got a motion to adjourn, all in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, thank you. Thank you, Dan Engelman, too, for being here.
Oh, no,
Recognize you, too.
That's fine, just so you know. I'm an engineer here in town, we have an engineering company. Welcome to the district. Where'd you come from? Okay. And then you're back?
Get it done, get it done.